Hello, I'll be going through how healing spells are calculated. Credits goes to JP Twitter user Sue Ra Lone and the Wizardry wiki at wikiwiki.jp for the original calculations. Links can be found in the description below. I have fixed up some minor errors as well as fixed some of the values that changed due to the skill balancing patch in May. Healing calculation is relatively simple compared to damage calculations. Each spell has a fixed constant and a divine power coefficient. A lower coefficient is used when the divine power is less than the spell's lower bound, and a lower coefficient is also used for the portion of the divine power that is higher than the spell's upper bound. All calculations are rounded up. Let's use rank 1 Dios as an example. The basic calculation for rank 1 Dios is 6 plus divine power times 1.4. Rank 1 Dios does not have a lower bound, but has an upper bound of 100. If you have more than 100 divine power, the coefficient drops by half from 1.4 to 0.7. Using 50 divine power, 6 plus 50 times 1.4 equals 76. Using 100 divine power, 6 plus 100 times 1.4 equals 146. Using 200 divine power, 6 plus 100 times 1.4 plus 200 minus 100 times 0.7 equals 216. Now, for rank 3 Dios. The basic calculation for rank 3 Dios is 60 plus divine power times 1.5. Rank 3 Dios has a lower bound of 30 and an upper bound of 300. If you have less than 30 divine power, the coefficient drops to 1.125. If you have more than 300 divine power, the coefficient drops by half from 1.5 to 0.75. Using 20 divine power, 60 plus 20 times 1.125 equals 82.5, which gets rounded up to 83. Using 200 divine power, 60 plus 200 times 1.5 equals 360. Using 300 divine power, 60 plus 300 times 1.5 equals 510. Using 400 divine power, 60 plus 300 times 1.5 plus 400 minus 300 times 0.75 equals 585. Going from 200 to 300 divine power nets you 150 extra healing. However, going from 300 divine power to 400 divine power only nets you 75 extra healing. Healing 510 is ample for even most endgame situation, so I personally see no point in using higher ranks or intentionally stacking divine power above 300. I feel it is better to stack up defensive stats or action speed. Shown on screen are the constants and coefficients for various ranks of Dios. Madios has the same scaling as Dios. Rank 5 and 6 of Latumofis has the same scaling as rank 1 Dios. Rank 7 Latumofis has its own scaling. Shown on screen are healing values that I have pre-calculated. Feel free to drop a comment if you notice any errors. Shown on screen are the constants and coefficients for various ranks of the Knight ability, Self-Healing. It also scales off divine power and follows the same calculation. Values might be off as I have not fully tested this out. Similarly, these are the healing values that I have pre-calculated. A Google Sheet containing all the calculations can be found in the description. Hope this answers some of the questions behind how abilities scales in Wizardry variants Daphne. I will be doing a video on either damage resistance or status resistance calculation next.